Okay, you guys, so I'm going to show you how to make my version of the Anna Paul viral Turkish pasta. Let's get started. Okay, this is a pretty simple recipe, what I would say. You only need a few things, which is literally any style of noodle or pasta. If you would like, you can use spaghetti noodles, you can use bow tie noodles, you can pretty much use any kind of noodles of your choice. Here, I'm going to use the bow tie version. It does not matter where they come from, it don't matter what brand. However, all you have to do is pick your pasta of choice, okay? Then you are going to have some hamburger meat. Some people were using Italian meat. You can use ground beef, you can use ground chicken, you can use ground turkey. You guys just pick whatever meat of your choice. That is one of the things that I love about cooking in your own kitchen is can't nobody tell you what to use. So that's why I said this is my version of the viral Anna Paul pasta. Okay, so I am using my choice of ground beef. I'm going to pretty much chop that up and then I'm going to season it. I'm going to show you the seasonings that I'm using. Now, I'm just going to be honest, in my opinion, the particular seasons that are used in the Turkish pasta, they are good. I have made it exactly the way that they've made it on TikTok as well, but I don't feel like it's enough seasoning for me. So I wanted to put my own twist on it. So I'm going to use a few of my seasons of choice. At this point, you can call it a Turkish pasta if you like. I'm not sure if it's still considered as a Turkish pasta, but whatever. If you like, you can even use some Jamaican flavors and make it a Jamaican version of a Turkish pasta. I don't care. It's your version. Do what you like. But literally, pasta, hamburger meat, season it the way that I'm seasoning it, or you can use your own seasonings, however. And then in the back, you're going to see that there's a little pot. I forgot to show you guys, but that is 2 sticks of butter. And then I'm going to add some of the same seasonings that I used to season my meat with. I'm going to add to that butter. The butter is like a sauce topping, okay? Then one last thing you are going to have to do is you are going to have to use yogurt, okay? The yogurt is going to have to be seasoned totally different, and I'll definitely show you guys that. But I'm going to let you go ahead and watch me go ahead, season up, and do this meat. Now, when it comes down to your meat of choice, you have to be mindful because some meats can be a little more saltier than others. So picking the right seasonings based off of the particular meat, that is going to be very important. There's my 2 sticks of butter, and as you're going to see me season that up, I'm going to start off with some paprika. And you guys, as y'all can see, I'm not measuring anything because I've made this before, and I go off of smell, I go off of look, and most of all, I go off of feeling, okay? So if I feel like it's enough, then I'm like, okay, that's good. But you have to also keep in mind that when it comes down to any type of pasta, we're not seasoning our pasta. So having your meat seasoned correctly and having your sauce seasoned correctly is going to be the 2 main important parts, okay? So I seasoned that with some paprika, some garlic powder, and some onion powder. And I'm also going to add in a few other ingredients as you're going to see here, but you can go ahead and continue to watch. using your meat chopper to make sure all of your meat is chopped up pretty fine, we're going to go ahead and get into cutting up our different toppings and additions to our pasta. So, one of the requirements is a purple onion. If you like, you can use a white onion. I'm not sure if it's going to have a different taste or not. I'm really not sure, but different onions do have different tastes. The purple onion can be a little more sweeter. So I guess that's one of the reasons why they tell you to use that particular one, okay? And then in reference to your tomatoes, some people were literally just taking whole tomatoes. I kind of chopped up my bigger ones in 4 parts, and I chopped up my smaller ones in half, but that's all your preference. So we're going to go ahead and just chop up everything that we need to have chopped, as well as some parsley for topping. Okay, here you're going to see me kind of go back and forth about whether or not I felt that was enough onions. And I felt like I wanted to go ahead and use the other side. So that's exactly what you're seeing me do here, is continuing to cut up the rest. Now, it don't have to be no perfect shapes, y'all. I did my best. But once they start to pretty much turn translucent, they kind of lose shape anyway, so it really doesn't matter. So you can go ahead and add those in there as well. Now, another thought that I had was, technically I probably could have added some green peppers and some yellow peppers, because I feel like sometimes when you add your different peppers, it definitely changes the whole look of your whole pasta or whatever you're making, and sometimes it changes the taste, but most of all, it will definitely make your dish look beautiful. Okay, so that is pretty much your preference. So here, as you can see, I went on and started to chop up those tomatoes, and at first, like I said, I did it in 4, but then I decided I can go ahead and go with halves because it's not as big as I thought. So just go ahead and do those halves. But I do feel that cherry tomatoes is probably going to be the best option, okay? But when you pick your cherry tomatoes, when you're at the store, just make sure that you're picking ones that are kind of small, if that makes sense. Okay, now you have to chop your parsley up pretty fine. I probably should have used a bigger knife, but I didn't. I didn't. So now let me go ahead and show you guys how to make this yogurt mixture. So first things first is you have to have Greek yogurt. Last time I didn't make enough, so I was like, this time I'm making a lot because this is probably one of the best parts of the pasta itself. A lot of the videos that I seen, they did not season up their yogurt enough. So y'all, I overdid it, honey. I put plenty, say it with me, plenty of garlic in that baby, okay? Cause it got to be seasoned if we gonna eat it. I added some butter, garlic seasoning as well. Now that was something else that I did not see anybody add, is that I just seen them season theirs with garlic, salt and pepper. We're not doing that. We're doing garlic butter, seasoning, and that is your go-to, your salt, pepper, and garlic. So more garlic. And then I also added some Celtic salt. Celtic salt, it can be very salty, but it's really good. Okay. It's a really good salt taste. So I put a good amount of that in there and I mix it up. And then I seen, what does the color look like? And based off of the color, it was still a little white. So I said, we need a little bit more seasoning. Say it with me. Add a little bit more. Don't tell nobody, but I did. I added some more because I wanted it to look a little yellowish from that butter seasoning. So, yep, I added some more. And then after that, when it reached the consistency and the color and the look that I was going for, I set that aside, okay? That's about right. Now, I know somebody gonna ask me this. Lady K, why didn't you drain your noodles or wash your noodles off? So listen, when you are making pasta, depending on what kind of pasta you're making, you need some of that water. And if you rinse off your noodles, sometimes depending on what kind of pasta you are making, your sauce will not stick. So that is something that I learned from watching all the cooking shows and the restaurant stuff. You need some of that water, honey. Well, clearly I did not have the camera set up in a good place because all you guys was looking at was my fat arm, honey. Okay, but listen, you take your pasta, you put down your sauce, and this setup part, you can set your plate however you want, but this is how I did ours. And I forgot to show you guys the bread, but I put the pasta down, then I put the sauce, then I did the meat, then I think I did the tomatoes, and then I did the sauce, and then you top it with your parsley. You can add as much of each topping as you like. That's why I have it set up like this versus making the kids plate for them. So right now I'm making my husband's plate, and then I'm going to go ahead and make my plate. But make sure that you lean your pot over. I'm able to get it at the bottom, but you want all of the seasoning from the bottom as well, okay? So this right here is another one of my favorite parts. A lot of people wasn't adding enough to theirs, or they didn't add a lot to theirs, but I wanted all of that good stuff. You see that? Parsley. That's a beautiful dish. We are all done. Do you see how beautiful that looks? It is a delicious dish. So go ahead and try this recipe out and tell me how much you love it. Hey there, thank you so much for watching, and we made it to the end of the video. I want to remind you that you can go ahead and head on over to Amazon and order you a cookbook if you are interested in amazing recipes like this, as well as some tips on how to keep your house in order. So with that being said, thank you so much for all the love and support that you guys continue to share. Until next time, see you later.